Thank you.
Yow! Learn to ride a horse, idiot!
What? Really? Oh, I'm in my armor. Okay, great. Quest started. Epilogue. Ah, so there's more. There's more. Okay. It's not the end. I'm still extremely annoyed that we did not get to fight Toth, or at least, I don't know, like, he should have like a henchman. Some kind of epic battle at the end. Like at the end of the beta, they had the battle with Runt, which you have like halfway through the game. Right, so let's head over to the upper castle. I'm at the top right now. Okay, let's go downstairs. I need to go back to Townburg to loot all these corpses as well. Definitely a lot of money to be had there. Where's Pebbles? Yes, Pebbles, the best horse in the game. Thank you very much. Yeah, they had this epic battle with Runt, and I was kind of like, this feels like a bit like a boss fight. I guess it didn't really make sense with the storyline, and then they're going to force add something like that just so it fits the typical game genre. But I do feel like it was very anticlimactic in a sense that it was just like, okay, now we let him go. And guys, you know, the interesting thing about this game is, like, people say, oh, spoilers and stuff like that, but you can actually read what happens next in the history of this game. You can go and look up on Wikipedia right now what actually happens next and get the general idea and story for how things are going to unfold. Oh, we got a cutscene now. I'm not going to do that myself.
Are you going to the meeting with Margrave Jobst as well?
I am. What about Istvan? I assume...
That we didn't catch him? No. Because if we had, you'd be the first one to know. Have no fear. We'll get him eventually.
I hope you're right. Anyway, let's go and see what Jobst wants from us.
I'm kind of glad he didn't find him though, because I want to kill him myself. There better be some awesome battle in the next one. Me versus Roth. Even in a duel or whatever.
My lords, Christ's blessings on you all.
And on you, Lord Capon.
And this is my son, Henry.
I didn't know you had a son, Sir Rosig.
It came as a bit of a surprise to young Henry, too.
This gentleman here is John II of Liechtenstein, a member of my council.
I'm honored, gentlemen.
Come join us. Margrave Jobst was just about to tell us the reason for his visit. Your Grace?
I'm sure we're all agreed, Your Graces, that all this unrest must come to an end. This kingdom needs a king.
Question is, which king?
My cousin, Wenceslas IV, who is being held in captivity.
I have to confess, my lord, that your answer surprises me a little. If I'm correctly informed, until recently you sided with your other cousin, Sigismund.
That I cannot deny, and I have always stated my position plainly. But times have changed.
How have they changed, Your Grace?
Sir, there is one thing on which we undoubtedly concur. That King Wenceslas, unfortunately, did not inherit his father's gift for governing. Sadly, his failures have cost Bohemia, the nobles, and our whole Luxembourg family a great deal of money and effort.
How did the king let it go so far, damn it?
It's in his temperament. He cares only for wine, women, and the hunt. A king, in fact, who never wanted to be king.
Then why didn't he just let his brother have the crown?
Young sir, the crown weighs heavy when there are duties to be performed, but to surrender it means giving up great privileges too.
But he did surrender power to his brother. When things started getting out of hand, Wenceslas appealed to Sigismund for help in restoring order.
What, you're saying Wenceslas invited him here?
This is starting to make my head spin.
Actually, it makes sense when you think about it. Sigismund wanted to re-establish the power of the whole House of Luxembourg. He thought if he helped Wenceslas win the imperial crown, in return his brother would help him become the king of the Romans, and leave the actual reign of Bohemia and the empire to him. Sigismund would govern, while Wenceslas could carry on doing what he was best at, enjoying the life of the imperial court.
Why wasn't Wenceslas crowned Holy Roman Emperor long ago? He was already elected king of the Romans. All he had to do was go and let the Pope put the damn imperial crown on his head.
Who knows? Maybe he'd prefer hunting and consorting with bathhouse wenches to spending time with the Pope.
Well, so would I must admit.
Sigismund's plan seemed sound enough, but it didn't quite work out, did it?
It worked for a while. He and his brother reached an agreement. Sigismund took over administration of the kingdom and began planning Wenceslas's journey to Rome for the imperial coronation. But then Wenceslas realized he would just be a puppet with a crown.
I must say, Margrave Jobst, Wenceslas and Burghoff behave rather like naughty children in need of a good clout about the ears.
Sigismund would agree. He was already planning his rule of Bohemia, and all of a sudden, the rug was pulled from under him. I'd say he lost his patience and decided he'd drag Wenceslas to the coronation kicking and screaming if he had to. Just like a naughty child, as you say.
So he abducted him and your brother Prokop too, if I heard correctly.
Correct.
And you helped him do it, if I heard correctly.
Yes, your graces, it's true. I was there when Sigismund abducted Prokop. I thought everything could somehow be settled, that we could make my brother see sense. But Sigismund just wanted to put an end to the dispute once and for all, whatever the cost. There was nothing I could do to stop him. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here. The worst of it is that it was all for nothing. Instead of putting a stop to the revolt, it escalated it, and the result is this chaos we have today.
That's true enough, sir. But I must admit now, I'm not sure what your position is. The king is incompetent, but we must protect him?
The simple truth, gentlemen, is that for all of Wenceslas's faults, we have no one else.
So we'll have to make do with his idleness.
People like him, though.
But what can we do now? Sigismund has the League of Lords behind him. Otto von Burghoff, Heinrich von Rosenberg.
The situation has gotten completely out of control. Now even the nobles of the League of Lords are realizing that Sigismund wasn't the right choice.
So now Burghoff is on your side. Are we to assemble an army together with him and face Sigismund on the field of battle?
We're not in Hungary now. Such affairs may be settled elegantly, without unnecessary hostilities or expenses. I have negotiated an alliance with the Hungarian bishops, the Polish, and of course the Czech nobility, against Sigismund. Every day he is losing the ground under his feet, and that's why I need your help too.
What kind of help, though? Sigismund has a massive army, and Rosenberg, Burghoff, and Prague are behind him. Do you have an army you could face him with?
But that's not what I mean at all. There's been a revolt against Sigismund in Hungary, partly due to my efforts, and now he'll have to choose whether he wants to gain the Bohemian crown, which is a very risky enterprise, or hold on to the Hungarian one. He can't have both. And there's a tough struggle awaiting him in Hungary. I'm not sure he'll win, and Rosenberg and Burghoff know it too. They're not stupid. If the Bohemian nobility stands together, they will turn.
We are men of little consequence, Margrave. Radzig here lost everything because of his alliance with Wenceslas. Sir Divish came within a hair of the same fate. Even Rattay is defenseless against Sigismund and the League of Lords.
What's more, your grace, King Wenceslas languishes in captivity in Vienna. He can't rule too well from there.
And what do you propose? To sit with your arms folded till the Bohemian lands are turned to ashes like scarlets? We have to put a stop to this senseless war.
And do you know, sir, what the true position of the League of Lords is?
I'm not on the best of terms with them at this moment, so you'll have to ask them yourselves.
Yes. Why not? I'll go and visit Burghoff at his castle and we'll see what he tells me.
You know, that's not such a bad idea, young sir.
True. Though a little risky.
I doubt Burghoff would harm a blue-blooded envoy. And you can find out what he has to say about developments and what the League of Lords is planning. Then we'll decide what to do next.
I'll help you compose a letter to him.
I'd like Henry to come with me.
Why not? He's proven himself an able investigator, and he'll also be a good bodyguard if anything should happen.
And I'll send Sir John here to Kuttenberg to be my eyes and ears there. I believe both your reports will help us get a better grip on the situation.
When can you set out?
Just as soon as I've packed my things.
Excellent. Margrave Jobst and I will draft a letter. Get ready, and we'll meet back here.
I know Jobs is going to play an important role in the next game, simply because he's one of the
Henry's
faces
come to see us.
of
I
the
expect
developers.
it would be best to write it in your name as Lord of Lipa.
Quite so, Margrave.
What exactly am I to write?
Oh, what isn't really the issue? The question is how. We need to learn where they stand on liberating the king and ousting Sigismund. If they'll make trouble or join our side, but...
But we have to ask in a way that won't leave Sir Capon being run out of the castle with a whip.
Exactly.
How about writing that you're concerned about current events and that you want to see things settled peaceably, and then ask the opinion of the League of Lords?
Very well said, sir. And what they want to do about freeing King Wenceslas.
Whether they think liberating King Wenceslas IV might contribute to resolving the dispute?
And what they plan to do about the god-awful mess in this country.
What steps they envisage taking to end the pillaging of Bohemia by foreign armies?
I couldn't have put it better myself.
I love
Well, I'd also venture to suggest one more. What is their stance on that is, the initiatives of Margrave Jobst of Moravia and a large part of the Bohemian nobility? Whether they plan to take action against them or support their efforts?
You read my thoughts, sir.
This is interesting. Hannish was like, yeah, what are they going to do about this god-awful mess in the country?
So, what do you think of Margrave Jobst, Bernard?
From what I've heard about him, I wouldn't trust him if he told me rain was wet.
I feel the same. It's never wise to trust a man who's turned his coat more than once.
Exactly. And I don't buy that business with Prokop. He double-crossed his own brother, and the rest is just his cover-up.
On the other hand, if anyone has a chance to oust Sigismund and keep the nobility on his side, it has to be Jobst.
Interesting. Have we talked to them about this?
God save you.
Ah, thank you. Yeah, but I was going to say, I just thought it was funny how he was saying, how Hunnish was saying one thing, and then he was translating it. It was like, okay, let me write it this way. Did the potion help?
So did it help?
I've not caught anyone napping on their watch since, so yes, I'd say it helped.
I'm glad. I wasn't completely sure that it would.
What did you think of the Master?
What is
Kaiser?
your impression of Master Kaiser?
Sir Hanush thinks he's insane. As crazed as one of those dung-smeared fools reciting the New Testament backwards in the street.
But what do you think?
Sometimes I think a little craziness is no bad thing. Master Kaiser's seen and lived through a lot in his time in foreign lands. And those rockets he was talking about.
It all sounds like the babbling of a madman.
Maybe. But I'd like to see them. Shooting off. Screaming through the sky like comets. I'm sure they'd be a sight to behold.
We almost lost the trebuchet.
It seems we came just in time.
No, you came too late. The gates were flung open and those bastards poured out. Of course, we knew it could happen, but there was little we could do about it.
We were taken by surprise on the field.
I know, but I would have preferred you to come at their flank while they were attacking us. It's a good thing nothing happened to Sir Capon. That would have been far worse than a shattered trebuchet.
Right, okay. And Sir Abad, we need to ask him about the battle.
I'm glad to see you.
Thank you, Sir Abad. What do you make of Job's speech?
What do you think of Job's speech, Sir Robard?
Honestly, lad, I wouldn't trust a word he says. He'll drag us into something, and when the going gets tough, he'll turn tail and leave us to deal with the consequences.
Whoa, okay. Just who is he, anyway?
And who is this Jobst exactly?
He spent 20 years wrangling over Moravia with his brother, Prokop. Then they suddenly reconciled when Sigismund was captured in Hungary, and they went plundering there, claiming it was with the aim of liberating him. When Wenceslas sent them to parley with his enemy, Rupert of the Palatinate, The pair of them turned coats on the spot, took sides with Rupert, and together with the League of Lords and the Meissen nobles laid siege to Prague. But then they made terms with the king. He agreed to hand over part of the government, and they sent the Meisseners home. This is no ancient history I'm talking about. It was only 2 years ago, and now, suddenly, he's Wenceslas's greatest ally. Can you trust someone like that?
No, I guess not. Will it help the realm to rescue Wenceslas?
Do you think that rescuing Wenceslas will help the country, sir?
God knows. The king is a drunkard. If he governed instead of boozing, wenching at the baths and hunting, there'd be peace and order. Quite honestly, I'm not surprised the Germans deposed him, or that Sigismund's patience ran out.
Why?
Wenceslas himself sent for Sigismund to help him, and made an agreement with him. And when Sigismund started acting as agreed, Wenceslas double-crossed him and claimed the agreement was invalid, just because he no longer liked it. What would you have done in Sigismund's place? On the other hand, now we've seen what Sigismund has been getting up to here, it's clear he's no better a sovereign than his brother. And that goes double for Rupert, not to mention Jobst, who might well have his eye on the Bohemian throne too. So, all in all, we're probably best off with the drunkard. Better the devil you know.
Yeah, fair enough. And what about Prokop?
And what about Prokop?
Well, he stayed on the king's side, for most of the time at least, largely because they're birds of a feather. He's not keen on governing either. But woe betide anyone who tries to take control away from him. Then he would turn on his own brother, literally. He often behaves like a rebel, just in grander style.
Just what is Sigismund up to?
What do you think Sigismund's after?
I'd say he wants to restore the Empire to its glory days under his father, Emperor Charles, which his brother seems incapable of doing. But he's also defending the East against the Turks, and fighting with his own noblemen at home, battling his brother and cousins here, and Rupert and the Meissen nobles in Germany. He has a lot to deal with, and riding roughshod over everyone certainly isn't helping. Mind you, what else is he to do? I think in more settled times he might make quite a good king, but now he's missed his chance.
Yeah, fair enough. What is the League of Lords playing at?
What about the League of Lords and Burghoff? What are their objectives?
Whenever the king is weak, the nobility tries to grab as much as it can. Not for the good of the country, of course, only for themselves. The League of Lords is full of men like that. When the king was captured the first time, they released him only after he nominated them to high office and ceded some of his power to them. Now that he's held captive a second time, they run the country at Sigismund's behest. Burghoff is the highest vice-chamberlain in the land. As soon as the king was captured, he declared a pogrom on the Jews and raised the tax dues of towns and monasteries. Watch your step with him.
Sounds like a shifty guy. What about Rupert?
And what about Rupert of the Palatinate? What does he want?
Rupert? He appointed himself king of the Romans. And ever since then, he's been making the tactical moves of a coward who's not sure what to do. If Wenceslas were a man worth his salt, he'd have dealt with him long ago. But then, if Wenceslas was any use, he wouldn't be languishing behind bars in Vienna right now.
Right, okay. That will be all.
Good. That was all I needed to know. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Bear up, and take care of yourself. The world is a dangerous place, and Burghoff's a dangerous man.
Remember that, guys. Can we speak to anyone else here? Like Sir Hunnish? Right, you can't speak to these guys. So I guess we've got to go and talk to our father. Right, okay. This is actually going to be the interesting dialogue right now. Oh, I've got to exit out of this door? Oh no, he's standing here.
How are you, Henry?
So what do you think of it all, Sir Divish?
I think I don't know what to think.
That makes two of us.
If I didn't know anything about Jobst, I'd say he's right and absolutely truthful. But I've heard too much about him already.
Likewise. But I do feel he's the one with the best chance to put things right.
Well, we'll see what we learn from Burghoff. If the League of Lords stands with Sigismund, then our chances pale, in spite of everything Jobst said.
We shall see. We shall see.
Can we talk to Sir Divish? Then we'll talk to our father. I just want to get all the dialogue.
What do you need?
They suddenly have a lot to say about their opinions.
How do you like Master Keyser, Sir Divish?
How do I like him? As if it's not enough to hurl giant boulders at my castle, he wants to throw kegs of gunpowder.
I understand, but he has to do something.
Those boulders could hit my wife, and if they don't get her, the gunpowder could burn her to death along with Sir Radzig.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry. I know how you feel. I feel much the same. When we're done, what state will my castle be in? What will I do if the worst happens? Enough of that. Better to spend my time in prayer than worry.
Yeah, we got to the trebuchet just in time.
We made it in the nick of time.
We failed. That serpent from Valdic gave us the slip. I should have known he'd have his fingers in it all. If only I could catch him.
Would you kill him?
Maybe. But before that, I'd throw him in the dungeon for a few years. See how much he enjoys it. Still, the best I'll be able to do is lodge a complaint against him when the king returns, and just thinking about it gets my gall. And my arm's killing me. Damn it!
Yeah, he's gone for a rough time, old Sir Divish. Alright, let's talk to our dad.
So, it looks like you're off on a mission.
Yes, I can't wait.
I don't want to dampen your spirits, my boy, but watch out. These are evil times, and who knows what can happen along the way. Not to mention that Burghoff is no saint.
Don't worry.
I know. You've shown you can fend for yourself, but do take care. You'll be traveling as Lord Capon's bodyguard. You'll be there to make sure nothing untoward happens to him. Keep your eyes peeled and your ears wide open. What Burghoff tells you is one thing, but what you see may be quite another.
Rest assured, Father.
And don't get embroiled in anything else. Just hand over the letter, hear out his reply, and return.
Yes.
Very well. Burghoff is at Trotsky Castle. I think you'll find it quite an eye-opener. It's one of the finest castles in the land.
Oh.
It's 3 days' ride from here, so unless you hit a snag along the way, you'll be back soon enough. Any questions?
There's probably going to be a snag. Henry has a lot of questions. Luxembourg relations.
I'm getting a bit lost in the Luxembourg lineage. It all seems a bit too tangled.
The Luxembourgs have ruled the Empire and Bohemia for almost 100 years now. Emperor Charles brought this land to prominence. When he was in power, things had never been so good. Wenceslas and Sigismund are his sons, but by different mothers. Jobst and Prokop are their cousins. They were entrusted with governing Moravia. But instead, they've been in a bitter armed feud for years, and now Sigismund's fallen out with Wenceslas. Wenceslas also had another brother, the youngest, John of Görlitz, who was most probably poisoned. They seem like a hot-blooded lot. It's hard to keep up with their affairs, since they tend to change their alliances from one day to the next.
Who knows about Jobst?
Who is he really, this Jobst?
The cousin of King Wenceslas. He's the Margrave of Moravia. I admit I don't know what to make of him myself. Until recently, he was allied with the League of Lords. For a time, he even served Rupert of the Palatinate against the king. And now suddenly, he's reversed his position. I don't know what led him to do it, and one can't help being suspicious. It's best to keep a watchful eye on him. But he really is the leader of the resistance against Sigismund these days. We'll just have to see how it all turns out.
Everyone is so suspicious. You knew Wenceslas then?
I'm a bit concerned so many people seem to think so little of King Wenceslas. You knew him, didn't you? What's he really like?
Well, there's no straightforward answer to that question. He certainly makes a great hunting and drinking companion, but he can be very fiery and impetuous when things don't go how he'd like them. He never had much of a head for high office. He finds it tiresome. But once a man's grasped the scepter, it's hard to let it go again. You can't just abscond. You've seen for yourself what happens when he disappears for a few months. Better a bad but legitimate king than a bloody war over the throne.
True. Just who is Prokop?
Who is this Prokop that Jobst spoke of?
Jobst's brother, the king's cousin. He and Jobst warred over Moravian supremacy for years. Then they were allies for a while, betrayed Wenceslas and sided with Rupert of the Palatinate. But after Sigismund abducted Wenceslas, Prokop fomented a revolt against him, and Sigismund had him captured. Politics. Make of it what you will. I, for one, can't make head or tail of it most of the time.
And the League of Lords.
The League of Lords and that Burghoff we're off to see. Who are they exactly?
The lords of the powerful houses. Heinrich of Rosenberg, Otto of Burghoff, Heinrich of Radetz, and others. They're unhappy with the way their influence declined after Wenceslas surrounded himself with the lesser orders of nobility. They abducted the king years ago and made him bow to their will. They got away with it that time, and now they've joined forces with Sigismund and done it again. But now it seems that Sigismund's behavior is starting to rub them up the wrong way, so they may well be thinking twice. We'll see what Burghoff has to say.
Okay. I hardly know anything about Sigismund, really.
I don't know all that much about Sigismund.
He's the king's younger brother and king of Hungary in his own right. 7 years ago, he led a crusade against the Turks and was defeated at Nicopolis. Some say it was due to the recklessness of the French knights, most of whom were mercilessly slaughtered. Sigismund is ambitious and capable. He might well make a better ruler than Wenceslas, but he's arrogant, and to our misfortune, brutal. Not long ago, he himself was held captive by the Hungarian nobility. They dislike him as much as some of the Czech and German noblemen do his brother Wenceslas. Ironically, Wenceslas joined forces with Jobst to liberate him. And now this is how Sigismund repays his brother. There's no doubt about it, God does move in mysterious ways.
Yeah, God, what a bitch fight. Rupert.
Rupert of the Palatinate. That's a name I hadn't heard before today.
Rupert is the Prince Elector of the Palatinate.
What's a Prince Elector?
The Prince Electors are dignitaries of the Holy Roman Empire who have the right to elect the King of the Romans, who would then be crowned Holy Roman Emperor by the Pope. Rupert took the title for himself with the help of 3 other Prince Electors, even though Wenceslas had already been appointed. Some of the nobility in the empire recognized Rupert's claim, but when he went to Rome to be crowned emperor, it turned into a fiasco. Now he's doing his utmost to get Wenceslas to acknowledge him, but so far without success. So, now we have 2 kings of the Romans. Jobst sided with Sigismund for a while, but now he's switched allegiance. He seems to do that quite a lot.
Okay, wow, there's so much to take in. It's like a history lesson at the end of the game. That young man, John.
That young man, Sir John of Liechtenstein. Why is he here?
The Liechtensteins are a powerful Austrian family with estates in Austria and Moravia. Sir John sits on Jobst's council. Since the king's being held captive in Vienna, I suppose it makes sense to have a powerful Austrian house as allies. It could be very useful.
Very true. That's about everything.
That's about all.
Very well. Take the letter from Sir Hanush. And good luck, son.
Right, we've talked to our dad. Let's get the letter. Take letter. Cutscene. Go.
I believe we have written it well, gentlemen.
Without a doubt. No one could deduce from this whether we are Sigismund's allies or foes.
I must travel back to Brno now, but soon I will go to Brandenburg and I will stop here on the way back. By then, Sir Capon should be back and we can discuss how to proceed.
Right. Before you leave, my lord, there is one thing that gives me no rest. Why did Sigismund come as a foe? It makes no sense.
If I may, sir, I think I can explain.
Oh, please enlighten us, young sir.
I live not far from Hungary, where Sigismund reigns. It is a savage country, and the constant war with the Turks has hardened the people. They need a monarch with an iron hand. So when Sigismund felt the wind of revolt, he reacted as he would at home. Only what works on the Hungarian nobles does not work here in Bohemia.
Bringing order is one thing, but slaughtering and pillaging with a horde of barbarians quite another. What purpose does that serve?
But Sigismund did give the Bohemian nobles a chance to take his side. It was only when they refused his ultimatum that he lost patience and took to the sword.
As for the barbarians, he could afford nothing better. The Hungarian nobility would gain nothing from joining his campaign in Bohemia. He didn't have enough coin for a regular army, and so he recruited the Cumans. What he does not pay them, they make up for in plunder.
But in the end, he didn't have enough to even satisfy the Cumans. That's why he raided Kuttenberg and Skalitz. He wanted the silver.
That makes sense.
My lords, how's the letter coming along?
It's done.
Then we can be on our way.
Now remember what we said, boy. All you have to do is deliver the letter, listen to the answer, and come back here. Don't provoke Burghoff in any way.
Provoke? Me? Never, Uncle. We'll be back in a few days. Farewell, your graces. Come, Henry, my men are waiting.
I wish you Godspeed.
Godspeed. Everyone just like nods to each other before they leave. Alright, got the letter. We got 85 groschen randomly. Congratulations, you've completed the main storyline. If you like, you can still embark on side quests and activities, or just wander the world. You can finish the game anytime by joining Sir Hans Capon's squad. Well, obviously, I'm going to go do that
Come
right now,
Hal.
then.
My men are mustered in the courtyard. We can get going.
Let's go, Hans. Come on. Oh, okay. There's a ghost. It was very mysterious. Is there anyone standing outside? That was extremely worrying. How did that happen? Come on, Hans. Come on, Hans. Oh, Jesus.
Henry, I'm glad you came.
God, okay. Right, is this my horse, Pebbles? Yes, Pebbles, my boy. Come on then, Hans, let's go. I have no idea where we're going, but Hans is taking forever to get here. No, mate, I don't want to ride with you. I'm riding on my own, thank you.
Yow! Learn to ride a horse, idiot.
What? Really? Oh, okay, I've got to talk to him. I've got to talk to him, I see.
So, can we set off now, Henry?
Why have you got blood on your face? What happened? Yeah, I can hardly wait.
Of course. I can't wait.
So, to horse. The Lord of Burghoff is bound to be waiting us eagerly.
I could do with a bite to eat.
Okay, I'll get some food, Jesus. Actually, I think there's some food just here. We can just eat some before we set off.
Yeah.
Right, let's ride out with Sir Cape. Oh, what the hell? Okay. So, riding off into the sunset, quite literally. Where are we going, Hans? Are you the quest marker? Yeah, you are. Once again, we're riding with Sir Hans this time. Rather ironically, the last time we rode this way with Sir Hans, I was on foot. I didn't actually own a horse, and he made me run after him. That was the first time we ever met and went hunting.
Highborn bastard.
I'm getting used to it.
What about Rudzig? Has he accounted for not owning up to you the whole time?
He explained it. All will be well, I think.
Glad to hear it. It's far more acceptable for a nobleman to befriend a noble bastard than a blacksmith's son.
Mind you, don't come to blows with a blacksmith, my young lord. What do you think about Sir Jobst and his plan?
Well, I admit all the scheming has me a little lost. I thought Sigismund was the devil, Wenceslas a martyr, those on his side the heroes, and those against him the villains. I believed we'd rescue the king and all would be well again. But now it looks a lot more complicated.
Way more complicated.
Exactly. I didn't expect the noble lords to be as noble as the angels, but I hadn't expected such a sewer. They behave like children.
I can't fathom how after all this backstabbing they're somehow still on speaking terms.
I don't know either. It beggars belief.
It is a bit crazy, isn't it? I mean, it kind of wants me to make me want to read into the actual story.
Did you know that King Wenceslas is such a
Feckless drunkard? Not really. And to be honest, I'm not sure I wanted to know. I slept better believing my fate was watched over by a wise and powerful monarch.
So did I.
What a dismal world when you can't keep trust in your own king.
On the other hand, times were better with him here than with him gone.
Isn't that the truth?
Where are the other knights? They're like miles behind us.
What do you think of Sigismund?
If I were him, I'd have had enough of my brother even sooner.
But he's a monster. Look at what those hordes of his are getting up to here. What he did in Skalitz.
True enough. On the other hand, if Wenceslas and Prokop hadn't double-crossed him, none of this would have happened.
No one forced him to burn Skalitz.
That's a fact. But he couldn't let them shit all over him either. Not that I'm defending him, mind.
He's a weasel.
No doubt about that. Last winter, a certain Sir Jan Sokol of Lamberg a well-known knight, or robber baron to some, tried to occupy the city of Iglau, which was on the orders of none other than Prokop.
And what has that got to do with Hannes?
Well, he was there with him. Of course, that's not something to brag about in front of Yost.
And what was it all about?
They wanted to occupy a city that was on the side of the League of Lords, but despite there being several hundred strong, they didn't take it. For one thing, they couldn't get past the Iglau women, with their pitchforks and cauldrons of hot water.
I would never have thought of Sir Hannes as such a rebel.
Such banter. Yeah, but when they recorded all the voice acting and stuff like that.
And have you heard anything about Rupert of the Palatinate?
A little. He can't manage even to wrest power from a king who doesn't much care for ruling and isn't fighting back. That doesn't seem like a man who has what it takes to rule. And that's all I need to know.
When they've
And that Burghoff we're going to see, do you know anything about him?
I haven't heard much good about him, but I have a feeling that some other nobles are quite in awe of him. And his castle is apparently quite impressive. I'll be interested to see for myself.
I don't think it's going to be that great, to be honest. Look at this countryside.
And what about the League of Lords?
Wealthy, pompous. The king doesn't seem to like them much. He's chosen to let the lesser ranks of the nobility into his circle, men like your father. I admit I don't blame him one bit. But the lords weren't happy about their lost influence, so they put their foot down. If I were Wenceslas, I'd have let them hang after they abducted me the first time. But he gave them seats at the provincial council. Little wonder they're back at their old tricks.
Yeah, that's true. Quite funny that they got away with doing the exact same thing twice, really. So when they recorded all these different scenes and stuff, the voice actors would just talk in a microphone in a room on their own, which is actually a very weird thing when you're acting. You're not acting with anyone else. It's quite difficult. But yeah, I think the voice acting in this game is some of the best I've ever seen, to be honest. Especially that of the main characters. I mean, you know, the peasants and stuff. I've noticed quite a few repeated lines, which is understandable considering the size of the studio and how much work they had. I mean, they had their work cut out, really. Same with the faces, like there's a few duplicates of faces and stuff, but how many people can you really scan into the game in such a short space of time? I guess a lot of these things will be reproduced because now they've got like the basis for their game and all the mechanics and everything. They've just got something to build on. But I mean, it took them only a few years, in fact, to actually build the basics and the mechanics, and you know, it's all on the CryEngine, but still, you had to build everything around the game as well. And that didn't take them. I thought you just turned around. That didn't take them that long. So I'm actually got really high hopes for the next game and them improving on a lot of the things that they had in this game. They're still bug fixing a lot in this game. Especially there seems to be quite a lot of bugs in the console versions from what I've heard. But I mean, there were loads of bugs on Skyrim when it first came out, and that cost as much and had literally, I think, triple the budget or more than Kingdom Come Deliverance had. Ha!
Ow! Watch where you're going, you lout.
Shut up, I will kill you later. My god, we've literally walked all the way from here to here, and he's just been nattering on like every second. It's not even like we've been actually riding there, he's just got so much stuff to say. I feel like the end of this game has literally been a history lesson. There's been so much said, and I'm just like, my head is spinning with all the different names. Hello? It's me, Henry. We haven't actually been back to the Neuhoff stable since they got raided. And we found the bandits in the wood just here. That's the... Oh, look, the gate's still knocked down. I think it'd be interesting if they had some mods and stuff that actually, you know, like, they started to rebuild these places. They've done it a little bit in side quests and stuff, but it would be cool if, like, you know, it was eventually rebuilt and there were some people there and they actually had their houses again and things slowly went back to normal as it would in real life, I guess. I guess in the grand scheme of things, I don't know how long has passed until things start to rebuild themselves in real life, or even if some of these places were just abandoned after the raid. But I think that would be like a good touch to the game, because it's definitely cool that, you know, these towns exist before, then they get destroyed. If they existed before though, it's not that hard for them to just put the already existed buildings that they built already before it was destroyed back into the game for the sake of saying, hey look, they rebuilt everything. I think that would be quite cool. Okay, so I think we're almost at the corner of the map. In fact, this is the campsite we're going to just here. I actually did a video about this campsite earlier because on the earlier patches of the game, there was actually a treasure chest here and it had the best items in the whole game in. And I think we can pick up the treasure chest now, but you used to be able to get it at the very start of the game. It was already there and it shouldn't have been. So they removed it, I think, in patch 1.2 or 1.3. But if you uninstall that patch, you can actually come and get this same chest. I'll show you guys in a moment at the start of the game. Okay, so we're at the campsite. This is it then. Talk to Hans Capon. The other knights are still riding, but miles away from us apparently. Yeah, let me show you guys. Look, here's the chest here. This is one of the best shields in the game. Okay, just going to squat down here then. I'll squat with you.
How about it, Henry? Can we go? Are you ready for this?
Sure, let's do it. Oh, not yet.
There's one more thing I need to arrange.
Very well. We'll be here waiting for you. Though I might go on a bit of a hunt to pass the time.
Let's go!
Of course. At last I'll get to see more of the country and have a bit of an outing.
Quite.
Talk to Capon. Achievement. The end. Is that it then? Or is there like a cutscene? Quest completed. Epilogue. What happens? Is there something more? Do we ride to the castle? Do we see a little sneak peek? Maybe? Maybe. Now, when I visited Warhorse Studios in Prague, we actually drove out into the countryside and we went to some of the locations, like, for example, Townburg, Repays, and so on, and we visited them and looked around and everything. And I'll tell you after this cutscene.
Let's get to it then. I finally have the feeling we're doing something worthwhile. We're helping to save the king.
Instead of saving his drunken majesty, I'd rather find that whoreson who murdered my parents, get the sword back from him, and skewer him with it.
Cheer up, Henry. I have a feeling you'll get your chance one day, and it won't be long in coming.
Better not be, I've been waiting.
Audentes fortuna juvat!
Ride off into the sunset. The music for this game was incredible as well. The end. Okay, great. Okay, so he drove me around the countryside and he also took me to the area and said this is where the next game is going to come out. And I guess, you know, you guys can look at the history and very easily understand where the next game is going to be based just on what happens next in the historical story. So I've seen people posting videos like the next game might be here or there, and I'm like, you can just look at the history. I mean, the game's based on history and you'll know where it's placed pretty much. But in terms of what's coming next, I know they're going to make some downloadable content like DLC for the game. I'm really excited to find out what that's going to be. What happens if I just continue now? Okay, it takes me back to the main menu. So I can continue from my previous saves, and we're going to do some of these side quests, because there's loads of side quests in the game, and even some battles that they have in the side quests, like little mini skirmishes and stuff, that are actually set up like mini wars. I've actually played one of them, so I already know that. I don't know which quest is connected to it, but I'll make a video on it and link it down below in the description if you guys want to go on another battle yourself. I think it might be the quest where Captain Rupert was saying there's some bandits in the woods, can you go and find them? I think that's the quest it's connected to, so I'll do that quest and make a video about it and let you guys know. But I just want to say thanks so much to you guys for supporting me throughout this Let's Play. So many of you have been giving so many nice comments on the videos, and you've clearly really enjoyed it. I've thoroughly enjoyed this Let's Play. The ending, to be honest, for me was a little bit anticlimactic. I kind of feel like there should have been like a fight, like a duel at the end or something. Something to say, finally we got our dad's sword back. I mean, I know for a fact that they're doing like, I think maybe 3 or 4 acts to the game. I think 3 acts. And they're going to release them. And this was like part 1 of the story. But it's still a video game, and you kind of want a Like, just the start of the game was incredible. It had me captivated. And then as I went through the main quest, you know, it was interesting and it kept me focused on it. Like, not a lot of games do that. Not a lot of games can do that for me. But this one really had me invested in the storyline. All the characters were believable. Obviously, I guess because it's based on history, like this actually happened for the most part. And just the way it's voice acted really had me immersed in like Kingdom Come Deliverance and Bohemia and everything. And that's incredible. I really like that about this game. The sad part is, I guess, is that you get to the end of the first game, the first part of the story, and you don't have that ending that I think should be in a video game, which is like the epic sort of end, but yeah, there's more to follow. I don't know how much on history it's based, but maybe partly that's down to trying to remain true to the historical accuracy of the story and not making up a random villain that Henry also wants to really kill. But it does make you have to kind of buy the next game now to experience the rest of the story. And obviously that's going to be a little bit of a wait away. I guess in a sense it's a bit like Game of Thrones, isn't it? You know, you get to the end of the story, like or the end of the season, and then you kind of want to know what happens next and how it happens, but you don't know yet because it's not come out and you've got to wait for that, and no one likes that, and that's just how it is. But I mean, if they deliver something amazing, that's going to be a beautiful thing. So I guess we'll wait and see. But guys, I want to say thank you so much for all the support you guys are giving me on this video. All your lovely comments you've been leaving. I try and read a lot of them when I can, and, you know, take your feedback into improving the series as I go on. And thank you for those of you who have been supporting me on my Patreon, which is linked down below if you're interested. I've also got a Discord server where I run lots of cool stuff as well, like giveaways, and also people can come on there, talk about mods, the game, the ending, and so on. So why don't you go and jump on my Discord server? I'll link it down below in the description, and you can discuss your opinions on what you think about it and how you think it should have been, or if this is okay, and let me know your thoughts. Personally, I think the game was fantastic, and I'm still going to carry on playing through the side quest. Just the ending kind of, it feels unresolved, you know, and I want the next game now. That's it. It's simple as. But thank you for watching, guys. My name is ESO, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.
I could do with a bite to eat.